how satisfied were you with the draw up at Wigan, and what do you need to do to turn that draw into a win?
Obviously, the draw was a very, very good result against a strong team. They put more or less their strongest team out. They only had one or two changes. And he said to me afterwards, Liam, that they threw everything at it, during the game. So that was very satisfying. I think, obviously not many people expected that. I think, our pitch probably won't be as big as Wigan's and might help us to have a slight advantage. The boys like playing at home. We've got a decent home record. What have we got to do to turn it around? I think first and foremost, our mentality's got to be the same. We can't think we've done the hard bit winning away from home, because I'm pretty sure they'll be more prepared for us than they was in the first game. Not that they didn't prepare for us, but they'll know what we're about now. And they'll probably try and come up with a plan to be better. So we've got to make sure we match the stuff without the ball, because they've got so many goals in them. They're a team of men, as far as I'm concerned. And if we don't stand up to that, I think the game could get away from us.
Them playing that strong team is a compliment to you. It certainly shows that they won't be underestimated in the replay. Then that they're going to be absolutely on it with the best team possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll be strong. I know they've had a few away with internationals. I know they had a couple of niggles with a couple of their centre halves had to come off in our game, but he was very respectful after. He always is, Liam, and the staff, and said how good our boys were and how much we limited them to very little. So I think, if like you say, if ever anything's going to happen, they're going to be really, really riled up, knowing that it's not going to be a walk in the park, and that could make him even more dangerous.
Since you played that game, the draw for round 2 has been made. Potentially, a side that's only a few places above you in the pyramid, so there is potential. You can see a route to round 3 if you can do it tomorrow night. Yeah,
I wouldn't get too carried away. I always think it's the old cliche of one game at a time. I think this is such a hard one. We'll enjoy the occasion. We'll enjoy the fact the cameras are there. We're playing the best team in the competition. See whether we can put in a performance that at least matches what we did at their place. And then if we get through, great. Then we'll worry about whether we can get through the next round, and that's a whole new challenge. Sometimes you might do something brilliant this round and then fall flat on your face. So let's not think too far ahead.
You got a big smile on your face, though. Are you enjoying the FA Cup as a diversion from the pressure of trying to get promoted? Because that's ultimately what you will have been brought in for.
Yeah, of course. If you say at the start of any season to any manager, regardless of club, you obviously, the league's a priority. You look for a strong league showing, because that's what's going to matter come what may. But the second on that list all the time is going to be, can you have some sort of FA Cup run that brings not only in some finances, but brings that little bit of attention on the club, and especially a small club like Solihull. Any attention we can get from a good FA Cup run's massive. And it's always for clubs at our level, this is always second on the list at the start of any season.
Finally, from me, what would you say to the Solihull Moors fans, how they can contribute to make it, shall we say, a sticky night for Wigan?
Yeah, I think it's a nice tight-knit ground, and like I say, it's a little bit more on top of you than maybe Wigan's ground. I know their fans will be noisy because I've seen them home and away. If we can just really create that cup atmosphere, there's always something slightly different about the cup, knowing that this one game matters. I think if they can create that cup atmosphere, we had a great atmosphere at Notts, record attendance in the National League. We had 700 fans there, which was incredible. If we can recreate the noise they make away from home in the home game, it will certainly give us every chance.
Hi, Neil. I just wanted to get some thoughts from you, really, on your own experience in the FA Cup. Really, I've noticed, obviously, you've been to the semi-final twice with Wimbledon in '97 and Watford in 2003. You just reflect on those experiences for us and tell us what that was like.
Yeah, I was quite unfortunate in semi-finals as a player. I ended up in 2 FA Cup and 3 League Cup semi-finals and lost them all. It never quite got over that finish line. But the FA Cup was always special. I remember the Wimbledon game. We had such a good season that season. We were in the top 4 or 5 in the Premier League throughout the whole season. We just fell away at the very end. But we played Chelsea, and I think on the day Chelsea worked out how to play us. I think they finally worked out, because we'd beaten 4-2 at their place in the league, and they finally worked out how to play us. And the problem with us back then at Wimbledon was we were a little bit, we tried to bully teams, outrun them, outwork them, and once they matched that and sussed that bit out, I think our plan B wasn't coming. So that was a disappointing one to lose 3-0 in that game. The Watford one, again, we'd had a great run in that competition that year, and we were playing Southampton, and I can't remember, I think Arsenal were playing some in the other draw, so we felt like we had a draw that could get us to the final. We felt like Southampton, we could turn them over. So again, another disappointing one, not showing up on the day. And that's the thing for our level when we play against, when we played against Wigan in the first game. It was, for me, the hard part is to make the players relaxed enough and believe enough that they can go out there and put in a really good performance, and they're not just there to make the numbers up.
And the competition does get denigrated quite a bit now, I think, the further up the pyramid you go, unfortunately. But there is still, for me anyway, a special magic about this competition, because it is still the world's oldest knockout cup competition, and it tends to get lost in kind of the overall feel of modern day football and money, particularly the further up the tree you get, doesn't it?
I think it does now. I mean, the landscape's changed a little bit at the top. I honestly believe outside of the top 2, the Premier League and the Championship, I think outside of that, it still holds magic. I think, League One clubs, it's, Wigan playing Solihull, it's one of them, let's get through round 1 and 2. And then, the excitement starts for them when the big teams come in. For teams like Solihull and teams at the lower pyramid, it's the magic's never going to go from it. Like I say, it'll always hold a special place. And, I was brought up in the era where the FA Cup was everything. We used to watch on the coaches, St. and Greavesy going towards the game, and used to make a proper day of it. So for me, it still holds a magic, and I'm sure for a lot of people in my generation it does. But outside of the top 2 leagues, I still think the magic's there.
And of course, the infrastructure at Solihull Moors is such that you're preparing for league football, hopefully, sooner rather than later. And this is another step on that journey, if you like, if you were to beat Wigan, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah, of course. I think also, the perception outside for people that are naive and don't look at football. Even when I took the job at Solihull, I had so many people say to me, "Oh, is it full time?" And that's I know it's to them it might be the right question, but I think it's quite naive that little old Solihull, well, I haven't really heard of them. So it comes back to the old Atkinson Stanley advert. Who are they? And I think for us, anything we can get to raise our profile is massive. I think the fact that we're going to be on the telly, the fact that we've got the best team in the competition and we drew with them. I think all of these kind of things on Solihull's journey are big steps.
And I noticed you said after Saturday, Alex Goodger and Jamie Osborne are struggling a wee bit. You're just going to monitor them over the next 24 hours, I suppose, are you?
Yeah, we need to give everybody as much time as we can to be fit. So we'll have a look at them all, and there might be a fitness test before the game tomorrow, etc., etc. So we just, it is what it is. It's part of the game, and we'll have a plan A and a plan B, and we'll see which one we end up with tomorrow night.
Neil, good to see you. Long time no see. Just wanted to ask first and foremost, really, what you learned from that game at Wigan that you can take into this replay.
I learned that the boys can cope with playing against a strong team like Wigan, but it is one-off game. There was a couple of moments we had to ride our luck a little bit. Hopefully what they've learned from it is that they can turn up tomorrow believing that they can do the same again, rather than wondering if they can. So, that's what we'll take from that first game. But no 2 games are ever the same. And, this game, we could be 1-0 down after 5 minutes, and then the whole picture changes.
There was a point during that game up north, and it was just after the save from Callum Howard just tipped onto the crossbar, where Wigan seemed deliberately to try and slow the pace down and just try and calm things down a little bit. Do you think maybe that the intensity with which you played up there caught them off guard a little bit?
No, I don't think so. I think Liam made points in the press after the game that they'd had Saturday, Tuesday, and he felt like it looked like it was the end of that sort of period. And I'm sure now they've freshened up a little bit with no game at the weekend. So whereas we've played, so that might spin on its head, and it might be that they're the team that looks like they've got more intensity. So we certainly, that's a strength of ours. We'll try and play with that same intensity. We know player for player they're stronger because they're top of League One, which is only natural. So we've got to make sure that our plan, make sure that we're in the game for as long as we can be in the game.
Wigan have this really awkward record of being absolutely awful in midweek, or at least they did until recently when they won 3-2 at Fleetwood. If you were to put yourself in the shoes of the Wigan manager there, is there something that you think you might be able to spot there as a weakness, or do you think it's just a complete coincidence?
I think it's probably a coincidence. I went and watched them on a Tuesday night when they played MK and they lost. I know they lost to Wigan on a Tuesday night not long after. So I do think it's, I do think it's a coincidence, because Fleetwood, when they played Fleetwood from start to finish, they were the dominating team. They were 2-0 down to a penalty and a set piece. But other than that, it was one-way traffic for the whole game. So I think they're strong. I think they're a team of men who know how to win games of football. So I'm under no illusions that we haven't, done anything yet. We've just given ourselves, another 90 minutes to have a crack at it.
And you've got a great opportunity to have a crack tomorrow in front of huge support once again. Obviously, you've had 699 at Notts County. You had more than 300 in the first game at Wigan, expecting a good gate as well tomorrow. How important is it for you to play to a good level tomorrow and try and keep some of those supporters coming back, regardless of the result? Is the performance really that important tomorrow, do you think?
Of course, I think, for us, for Solihull, for the cameras, whatever happens, whatever the result, we want everybody at the end of the game to come away and say, wow, they gave them a right run for their money at the very worst. So that's got to be our aim. I think, I don't think we was at our best on Saturday against Notts County. So, I always say to the players, don't let the result affect the performance. The performance 9 times out of 10 will bring the result. So, I think on the back of the Notts County game where we didn't quite get a game going, we've got to try and get our game going, and regardless of the result, that should take us into the Chesterfield game in a better place.
Just from a local standpoint, though, with that level of support that you've been getting recently and what we can anticipate tomorrow, how important is it to turn in a good performance with that in mind?
Yeah, I think obviously there's lots of fans that will come and watch tomorrow. There's no other games on. You want people to come and enjoy and go, it's good football down there and it's exciting football and it's good to watch. And, we need to try and send people away with that thought process in their minds, because if we do, like you say, when their next weekend's free, if it's Birmingham City or if it's another club, people that have come because their team's not playing or they've come because it's the first time and they're getting into football, we've got to want them to come back, and the performance is important in that respect.
And just finally, how much are the players feeling that buzz, obviously, from that huge support, especially at Notts County? Obviously, the result didn't turn out that in the way that you would have hoped. But how much are they really living off of that good vibe around the club at the moment with so much support coming from those away trips?
Yeah, I think it's difficult as a player. I think at the moment they're trying to get over the result and the disappointment from the actual result. As a player, you get a buzz more from the wins and when things are going well. We've lost our unbeaten run. Every time we've lost a game this season, we've bounced straight back. So today was almost trying to get the feelings of that defeat out of the equation, try and lift everybody up and try and get excited about what's going to happen tomorrow night. And I'm sure that will pick up tomorrow. But as for today, it's more a case of getting the cobwebs out from Saturday, really.